You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I am your host, Amy. Or am I really Christos, trapped in Amy's body? But today, I have my mutineers, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristin. Hello, hello. So, Kristin, please tell me, how are you doing?
I'm good. As we were talking earlier, I made choices last night. I flooded our post chat with a lot of random photos and videos, and had to let Christos know that unfortunately the lead singer is not single nor gay. He's just a boring straight, but
that was the Ramones, right?
Yeah.
They're well known. They've been to Vegas. I've actually seen them.
There we go. Oh, that's awesome. But no, it was a really good show last night. Had a lot of fun. Got a lot of compliments, like on my new t-shirt. It's like it had little pictures of all the famous horror icons, and then it just says friends underneath. And it's so stupid, and I loved it. And everyone was freaking out over. Anyway, I'm babbling. It's a good week.
Yes, excellent. Yeah. Christos, how are you doing? And what's new with you?
I can just say this week was like the continuation of the working on my fitness. It's been really fun working out with a personal trainer, and I've kind of gotten into this groove of where I look forward to it, and I'm eating even better than I normally do, and I'm trying to get other things in. So I think it's a little bit of a bug that you catch, they say, when you get into this mode, but I'm looking forward to having this body ready for Puerto Vallarta in 2 weeks.
Right. I absolutely love having my personal trainer. And I tell people, I'm like, I pay my trainer so I have an appointment that I don't miss, because otherwise the gym just doesn't. So I love that. Kelvin, you're nodding your head. Is it not?
Oh, yes, I'm in full agreement to having a personal trainer. I used to have one myself just before the pandemic. But I'm quite I'm quite disciplined with the gym. I'm very much lamenting on I've not yet been today. So I'm going to have a late night Sunday session to complete my 5 visits for the week. The reason I've not been is I'm coming to you with a cough, a hangover, and poor internet. So today might be a little bit of a shit show. Sorry.
Yeah. Kelvin, we've heard how you operate at the gym, talking to personal trainers about Star Trek Voyager for 10 minutes. Don't act like you're all disciplined.
Yeah, that's between selfies.
And then I'm too cheap. So my gym buddy, she has the trainer and gets all the workouts and stuff. And then she's like, do you want to work out? We can do my new program. I'm like, absolutely. I love this.
Yes. Oh, yay. Very good.
How's your week been, Amy?
Oh, it wasn't the best week. My Trump-loving father and I had to set some boundaries, and it was a difficult week personally. Yeah, that's that. But I get to talk about Star Trek, so I'm just gonna put that behind me. And let's move to our great joy and gratitude.
Great joy and gratitude.
Well, I would just like to jump right in because I had a wonderful turnout of what we are calling a science fiction presentation. If you can read between the lines, because I don't want this really out there, but organized and rented a movie theater and invited 30 of my, favorite local Trekkies. We came to the theater. They were so kind. They gave us a free popcorn, soda pop, and candy for free, just for renting out their theater. And we had a very wonderful viewing of a recent movie. I just don't want to get in trouble. So if you can read between the lines, that was really, really fun. And I asked all the people, I was like, who hasn't seen it? Because this has been a week since it had been released. Nearly 85% of the hands went up. I'm like, who are you people? Why have you not watched this? Oh, we were waiting till we wanted to see it on the big screen.
Well, that's cute.
It was.
So just a quick poll here or whatever. What was the overall vibe then of with 85% having not seen it?
Yeah.
Did they like it? Not like it? Oh my God, boo it?
Okay, so when you watch, and you guys know, when you watch in a room full of like-minded people, there were some like gasps when especially like Jamie Lee Curtis showed up at the end, and when there was some gasps when she killed her family, so like there was your normal reactions. There was a clapping at the end. I don't know if it was clapping because it was over or just clapping.
I love it.
It is a special experience though, because if you think like on the cruise when we've watched Discovery episodes or others, it just makes it all the more special that you're sat with like-minded people. So I think there was a Discovery episode that wasn't a particularly strong episode, but if I ever watch it again on repeat, it just reminds me of being in that theater on the cruise. So yeah, it's a special experience doing that.
Yeah. It was really fun. I think everyone, just enjoyed the experience. So yeah. All right. Other great joys and gratitudes.
So this week, at the age of almost 41, I have been officially diagnosed as having ADHD.
Wow.
Oh.
And it's been a long journey with my family doctor, who I do not have to pay to go and see. So I have no complaints about our medical system. Anyway, and we just had a very candid talk about the mental health struggles that I've been having lately, and that I'm religiously taking my anti-anxiety meds and all that, but it's just not working. And he's like, well, you need to, life is not just supposed to be something that you just get through, right? It's something you're supposed to enjoy and something that you're supposed to have like thriving in. So I started my new meds yesterday, and the difference just in how I felt physically, how calm my mind was night and day. So I have no words to really say how grateful I am for this, and that my doctor did not say things to me like, have you tried losing weight? It's because menopause is coming. Where are you in your cycle? All those things that a lot of doctors like poo-poo for women when they have struggles, they get pushed aside so easily and nonchalant. He was very dedicated to helping me through this process. So I am very, very thankful for him, the amazing support I got, and I'm excited for this new reality for me.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. My goodness. I was going to ask, but it sounds like with this diagnosis is coming different treatment options, because it's usually pretty late to be getting a ADHD diagnosis as an adult. Here in America, for someone to get that diagnosis as an adult, it's $1,500 plus to get tested. So there are many of my friends who are obviously now adults, and they can't get a diagnosis because they don't have the money.
Wow. No, it was not $1,500. Yeah. So I am very, very grateful for that. But, looking back on me as a kid, how did somebody not think? Like, I was a quirky little child. I could never sit still. I was always rambunctious. It was, I don't know.
There were other names back then for children who exhibited those behaviors that these days, you march them to the doctors for a diagnosis. Back then, they were just called like, class clowns, naughty, or
Yeah.
lots of
Weird.
terrible things that we just don't do now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm mourning the fact that I don't know what my life might have been if I had been properly treated, what I've been able to excel in like the degrees that I wanted to go and get. But I'm also like, I look around, I see my life where I am now, and I am very happy and blessed. So I can't be that upset. But no, I think it's also just the fact that I was heard this week.
Yeah.
And taken seriously. So lots of joy, lots of gratitude, and lots of hope for the future that this will help in all aspects of my life. So yeah, that's mine.
Yay. Kelvin?
Oh, I can't follow that.
What?
The only medical interventions I've had today are several paracetamol tablets for my hangover. My first hangover of 2025 at the end of dry January. We went out for a late lunch, early dinner, depends what way you look at it, which was a very small amount of food and many cocktails.
Nice.
Favorite.
Continued into the evening. Very quiet Star Trek week for me this week in terms of not really much going on, but I've been back into my 2374 rewatch. So I watched The Killing Game this week, both episodes, and one of those episodes that you just think really well and probably wouldn't choose to go and watch it because I think I've seen it that many times, but I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. And the corresponding DS9 that kind of matches up to them was actually Inquisition, which is the introduction of Section 31. So very timely considering where we were. And I obviously very much enjoyed that, seeing Section 31 depicted as DS9 do it so well.
And Kelvin, I also have to say how grateful I am this week for the meme that you made.
Oh,
because that meme was hilarious and so appropriate. It's chef's kiss. It was so good. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Oh, I finished my Deep Space Nine jigsaw yesterday, so that's now done.
Oh,
yes.
You'll have to share that in our Discord server.
I will.
Yes.
I took a nice picture. It's going to go back in its box today. It got me through the last week of January, always the darkest week. So that's done, back in the cupboard, and social life can recommence.
And Christos, what is your great joy and gratitude?
I'm going to say my resumption of travel, which actually starts today. I have a quick little overnight or actually 2 nights to Sacramento for work, which is great because people I'm going to be with, I love. And then this coming weekend, I'm off to Baltimore/DC to see my good friend Joe Leone, and we're going to see a screening of Clue the movie led by Leslie Ann Warren, and we have a meet and greet. So that's like less than 6 days away. I can't wait for that. And then 2 weeks from today, I'm off to Puerto Vallarta for a week. So I've got all, actually, I'm really looking forward to that because it's that. Yesterday it got to 70 here in San Diego, but that was only for like an hour at a peak time. It's been cold. And so my Mediterranean body can't wait to be somewhere in a more tropical environment. So yeah, travel is my great joy and gratitude.
Getting some vitamin D, right, Christos?
Oh, yes.
He'll be getting a lot of that in Puerto Vallarta.
This Greek god needs to get bronzed again.
Well, Kristin, why are we all here together? What are we talking about?
It's kind of an exciting episode because we are starting a new series. So that's really fun. That's a wrap. And today's part 1, and we are looking at the original series, Turnabout Intruder, where the crew's loyalty to Kirk, I almost said Quirk.
That'll be a better episode. It'll be a better episode.
Anyway, the crew's loyalty to Kirk dwindles when he returns in an unusually petulant mood from a mission involving an old flame. However, the reaction of the officers seems unnecessarily harsh and the prospect of mutiny looms.
All righty. Well, so Turnabout Intruder. This is the last episode of the original series, and we are going to be continuing talking about the last episodes of every series and key points to think about what makes a good finale. Would be talking about the closure, the emotional impact, the loose ends, and legacy of the series. So, however, because the network unexpectedly canceled the show before its 5-year mission ended, we don't really have a true series finale. And we're just left with this last episode. It's weird. So, can we stretch it? Can we look in hindsight's 2020? Can we, find any bit of closure, emotional impact, loose ends, or legacy in this episode of Turnabout Intruder? So I'm going to start there and ask you, do you see any of these points, key discussion points in this episode? Christos?
I mean, someone's got to go first, and I'm going to just say no. I always try to keep it real here, and I hope all of our listeners appreciate that. This is episode 79, and there's nothing in this episode that would make you think the show is over, other than it's such a bad episode that you can see why the show got canceled. Sorry to say that out loud and what it was. The story goes, they were taking the sets down as they were finishing up filming and whatnot. Yeah. Season 3 of the original series is rated by fans as the worst of the 3 seasons, and the writing, the writer's room wasn't the same. A lot of the same people. It just is a cringy bad episode that has nothing to do with the finale or even the season finale. I mean, it was a season finale, and it doesn't even have that feeling to it. It's just almost a bottle episode. It was done on a low budget, you can tell, and it's got a lot of other issues, which I'm sure we're going to get into. But there's nothing about this that I could say would make me feel like, oh, this is, I'd rather watch These Are the Voyages or whatever the last episode of Enterprise is.
We'll get to that quite soon.
I had the exact same feeling, Christos. I was like, I would literally rather watch that train wreck than this train wreck. But I mean, I guess this season started with Spock's brain. So I mean, it didn't get going on a good note. So I guess we're not too shocked.
Bookends there, bookends.
Where it ended up.
I actually quite enjoyed the episode. I granted it is quite a bit of a horror show, but in a way of the kind of the anti-message of the episode, looking at the episode critically, because it handled things so badly in the depiction of femininity and treatments of women and equality and everything, made me enjoy it, because it was something to point out how I was thinking how they could have fixed the episode all the way through it. I even enjoyed things, and I don't want to steal any of my assimilations for later, but even like Shatner's overacting. It's that long since I've watched the original series that I actually quite enjoyed it. What I will say is, you just said earlier that you watched the episode and then you went on to watch Voyager afterwards, Kristin. I went and watched what I consider from beta canon to be the finale of the original series. There's a fan-made series on YouTube out there called Star Trek Continues, and that is supposedly seasons 4 and 5 of the original series. The finale is magnificent, and it actually links directly up to the motion picture. To like Kirk gets promoted, Spock goes off to Vulcan for the Kulinar, the new uniforms come in. It's really, really good. So I would advise if people are interested, go and watch that. I know the guy who makes it is a bit problematic in the fandom, but the actual show itself, no disrespect to the other actors on it, is actually really good. And there's a counselor as well. There's a counselor of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Kelvin, did you just give me an idea to start a new series? Could we do a Star Trek Continues?
Ooh.
We could do.
Because I've never seen it, and I hear that the quality and stories, and we do know a lot of people, because, you know, that's made by fans. So we know a lot of people involved with it.
Yeah.
That might be interesting. Just a sidebar. Christos, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, Kelvin, I hear everything you just said, but everything you just said is how would you make it better, or even referencing another show to make it palatable. As a standalone, even airing in 1969, it's just, you know, you, like you said, you're zhuzhing it already to make it, to be able to swallow that pill. And you're talking about Star Trek Continues, which is a good show. I think I like that idea, Amy. Maybe we should take on a few episodes. But yeah, I mean, you've got to basically take a bottle of wine down to make that pill easy to swallow there, Kelvin. Just saying.
Yeah, that's why I've got a headache, is it?
So, I mean, and it's interesting about the time that this show takes place, right? In our time, like in IRL, in the 1960s. And even at that time, the women's movement was so strong during the 60s, right? It was really hitting its really good stride. You know, Simone de Beauvoir had published the Feminine Mystique, and things were really going. But this is what a room full of writers saw as an appropriate depiction of being a woman. And even William Shatner, apparently he had a real bad case of the flu during this filming. And the scene where he has to pick up, what was her name? Lester, thank you. And carry her to the couch. He actually told her at the end, I love you, baby, but you got to lose about 6 inches off that ass.
And it got a huge laugh in the room. Of course it did.
Of course it did. And I think that the problematic undertones of this episode are unfortunately just a reflection of the time in which it was filmed.
Yeah. So we didn't get Amy. Do you feel like this is a finale?
So for me, stretching and trying to find, okay, is there closure, you know, emotional impact, loose ends, and legacy? I came up as I was watching. I did see a little bit of closure. Again, I am stretching here, so just follow along with me. But remember when they were having the investigation, and Spock was like, well, we know that this isn't Captain Kirk, and here's Kirk, and he sort of goes through, it's like, well, we know each other, we know how the captain acts, and there was just sort of this, oh, let's think about the last 3 years that we've been together, and we know that his actions are erratic. So that's my only stretch of closure. And I did think that this episode is a good reminder of what the legacy is of Star Trek, because it's about Captain, especially this series, Captain Kirk, and this desire to be captain, a desire to want to lead, to want to explore. And I think that those parts give us a good legacy of Star Trek, the original series. That's my stretch.
I think you were very creative and great to actually get there, Amy, because I don't think any of us kind of saw any of those things that you just mentioned. I just don't see. You're right, Christos. It wasn't even a season finale worth episode. There was nothing really that said this is over. I wonder how the actors felt at the time. Clearly, they knew they were cancelled if they were taking the sets down. So, don't know.
Yeah. So I was really surprised at how I misread this episode, listeners. And I don't know, am I ashamed? I was shocked. So first of all, I knew that this episode is very political, obviously talking about feminism and what I call the pink ceiling. We have Janice. It is Janice, right?
Yeah.
Janice Lester? Yeah. Okay. So we have Janice Lester, who is dying to be a captain, but she's a female. And it states, even in the episode, well, we can't have female captains. Like, is that really where we're going in the 22nd century, that we still can't have women as captains? I was so shocked that this is coming from what I believe my original series is so political and so forward thinking. And I was like, oh, well, this obviously is a social commentary on how bad women want to be captains, how we should have a right to be a captain. So, you guys, I was literally watching this episode through that lens of, oh, now we finally get a women captain, albeit through the struggle that the choices that she made to become captain. Like, how extreme. A man would never have to take over someone else's body to become captain. So we get to see her actual struggle, preparation to become this captain. And it really changed the way I saw this, so that when I was doing this research, and we're going to talk about this, it shocked me. And I was like, oh, I misread this episode completely. Christos.
Yeah, I mean, this episode did not try to be political when it came out. It literally is a story about women are not captains. They're not going to be captains, and they shouldn't be captains, because when Lester does become a captain, we see her act in all of these tropes and stereotypes that basically justifies why women shouldn't be captains. And it's awful. It's not a reverse psychology. Let me get the audience to wink, wink, nod, nod, and buy into the fact that this prejudice needs to go by the wayside and women should be treated equally. No, the whole depiction is to prove why women are unfit for leadership, and it's awful.
I want to carry on with that, Christos, saying that let's say it had been a man switching bodies with Kirk to become captain. That would just be seen as he's motivated. He's got a goal. He knows what he wants to do, right? Like, if we changed the gender of the person who wanted to assume captaincy of the Enterprise, it would be totally different. I think I talked about this a little bit with the Tuvix episode, where would Janeway's actions have been received differently had it not been a nurturing, motherly woman doing this, but just a man following his whatever. But I think we see that a lot in Trek, where a lot of the characteristics, the actions, the whatnot of the characters of women being seen as so crazy. If you're like, okay, but if it was a man acting like this, would you see it as being crazy?
But when I saw her being captain and then acting crazy, I attributed it to the transference, that it didn't be seamless. And so she's got some mental issues that's causing her to act this way, because she would not normally act that way. So again, I twisted this episode to fit what I wanted. It's crazy weird.
I didn't pick that up, but I did pick up that this woman has a lot of trauma. She has been told no for so long, and you can only be told no for so long before you do something about it. And I think that she's finally getting to where she has wanted to be her whole life, and we're seeing some of that trauma-based action come out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, go ahead, Kelvin.
Oh, thanks. I think that there's a very strong reaction to the dialogue in the script when it actually references women are not allowed to be Starfleet captains. And I wonder if that line of dialogue was removed, and then this story was just based around Lester's desire to be captain and the steps that she takes to become captain as a result of maybe not passing the exam, or it's performance based. It's nothing to do with the gender. It's just she didn't make it, but she desperately wants to be captain. So she's taken all of these measures. But I think that would fix a lot of the problems of the episode if it removes that Starfleet policy from the story, and it's just Lester is desperate to be captain.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not forget that these writers wrote that as Starfleet policy. So this idea of our, utopian future is a bit skewed still. And secondly, let's also not forget that it was Lester's plan to kill the female body and Kirk after the transference happened. So this isn't about switching bodies. This is about also being premeditated murder. Mm-hmm. That just didn't have the time to happen. And it's attempted a few more times throughout the episode. So, I mean, that's a whole nother level of what we're willing to do to get what we want.
Yeah. I mean, she's very much the villain of the episode, but I'm kind of with Amy a little bit that I almost had sympathy for her.
Same.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you can see where it's like it goes back to their academy days, right? And how much she wanted this and her ambition and whatnot. And you could see that with those types of discriminatory policies and rules in front of you, where, maybe after another 15, 20 years, it would drive somebody mad. And obviously it did. So yes, was she driven mad potentially by a unfair society? I think my whole point about this, though, is that however we try to judge it and say, well, this policy could have been different or that could have been different, the way this episode is written, it's still a very unequal world that Roddenberry is painting, 200-300 years from now.
Yeah. And for me, this whole issue literally started within the first 10 seconds of the episode when they beam onto the planet and she's lying there open and exposed in this bed, and apparently she's dying and she's making those weird groaning noises. And then when Kirk shows up and Bones is like, maybe your presence will quiet her down. I'm sorry. If she's dying, she's allowed to make some noise.
Did you notice that obviously we had the opening captain's log, and then as they walked in and Kirk walks over to her on the bed, he kind of almost puts his hand over her mouth and goes, "Don't speak."
Yeah.
It's like,
that's
the first thing you say to the woman, "Don't speak." I mean, that really sets the tone for the episode.
Oh, that, as soon as I saw that, how they treated this woman who is ill, and I'm like, this is going to be a rough ride, y'all. It's gonna be
So I have a question. Has it ever been explained why, Discovery had Captain Georgiou and Admiral Cornwell and all these women in higher positions that are supposed to predate this, and how the policy got changed later?
I think that's we're going to fix what was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Well, and I appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
There actually was an episode of Star Trek Continues about this very subject. So I don't get commission. I really like that show.
No, I you know what? If it takes some of the cringy items of, this original series and kind of addresses them, that's great.
Yeah, it was, like I said, what changed my mind was actually reading this quote by Brenton J. Mallon, who sees the episode as a reactionary response to the radical feminism of the late 1960s. Dr. Lester is a, quote, caricature and condemnation of the feminism of the late 1960s, evoking a fear of powerful, power-hungry women. The message seems clear. Women want to kill men and take their jobs, but ultimately they can't handle them.
Wow.
That's exactly how I read that episode without having read that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That changed my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, now it's clear to me.
Yeah.
Oh.
And again, when we look at feminism, feminism is on a spectrum. And there are different degrees of radicalization. And around this time. I might be wrong. It might have actually happened a couple years after. But the woman who attempted to murder Andy Warhol, it later came out that she actually had a radical feminism manifesto called Scum. And if you ever get a chance to read Scum, it's actually quite telling. So that started to scare a lot of men, because it was going to come in and just disrupt. It was pretty much just women can rule the world and men will be used as breeding stock. Is what it sort of boils down to.
Angel one.
Yes. And another episode where strong women are made to look crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so and a lot of people just assume when you say, oh, I'm a feminist, they assume that you are that far spectrum radical feminist where you want to just destroy men. And for uneducated men, yeah, I can see how that would happen. But really, feminism, at the core, at sort of like that happy middle, is just equality between all genders and all sexes. So this kind of reaction to that is I was like, yeah, y'all were upset about some radical stuff happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, and another stretch here, maybe again, that we're coming at it from a 2025 perspective is, can we stretch this to gender issues? Probably 100% positive. Okay, I'll say 99% that they weren't talking about gender issues, but like the idea that a man can inhabit a woman's body and vice versa gives maybe a radical dimension, which could imply the interchangeability of gender and sexual identity. Now that's coming at it from a 2025 perspective.
Oof.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a lot. And I don't think that was the intention. I don't even think that was the intention in Voyager when they did the Seven and the Doctor swapping bodies. It was just played for laughs. But yeah, you're right. Something I picked up on when you talked about, moving away from the feminism aspect and just looking at what else it gave us. I was fascinated by the Dr. Coleman character who was in love with Janice. And then he had a bit like the host situation, Christos, like you talk about with Beverly Crusher and the Trill host swap. Mm-hmm. He's now got Janice in Kirk's body.
Yeah.
And there was some very homoerotic scenes with Shatner, putting his hand on the shoulder and saying about, the future and what they had. And I'm like, oh my God, Star Trek in 1969 is going there, with, like, hinting that there's going to be a same-sex relationship with these two. And it wasn't delivered in the script that bluntly, but it was very much subtext. And I am amazed it got through. I think somebody clearly didn't notice, and that got past some censors. But I thought that was pretty progressive.
I think they were too happy that they were putting the hammer down on women. They didn't see anything else.
I didn't pick that up, but mainly because I think that it was an unrequited love, and Janice had nothing but just neutrality towards this Coleman gentleman.
Yeah, maybe.
And she was using him as a means to an end, and now that she had her end as she thought, I don't know. I don't think that she felt the same about him as he felt about her.
I mean, at the end of the day, like he's a tool, right? And she's using him to get what she wants.
He's a tool in more ways than one.
Well, let's move to maybe some things that we liked and didn't like, a little segment we like to call assimilations and regenerations. So I'm just going to start with my one thing that I really liked was the acting. I liked that Shatner and the actor Sandra Smith, who played Janice Lester, they did a great job playing each other. The few times where Sandra Smith actually did get to talk and act and pretend to be Kirk, I thought she did really well, still within the confines of this female body problem. And Shatner was great. Sometimes his acting annoys me, but I liked his acting in this episode.
I'd also like to just quickly point out Sandra Smith was born in 1938, and she's still with us today.
Oh, wow.
So, Janice, if you're listening to this, you're awesome. And she has a very celebrated and successful film career. So, just want to put that out there.
I'm going to steal one of Kelvin's here because I'm going to expand on it. So, Spock's instant trust following the mind meld.
Yeah.
Yes. But then also, at that point, Spock being Spock and logic kicking through and really to throw it all down. And I'm going to do whatever it takes because I know it's right and I know I'm right and it's unwavering. And that's very on brand for Spock.
Yeah. I love that they did the mind melds because I think it would have been one of those fan moments of screaming at the screen to say, they don't trust her. Do a mind meld, then you'll know. So the fact it was done and it was just, no questions, no ask. But I loved Spock's Vulcan delivery of everything through the hearing scene, which was, by the way, the most informal hearing I've ever seen. It was just like no legal process. But just being so calm and Vulcan to demonstrate there's nothing wrong with him. He's himself, and just allowed Lester in Kirk's body to embarrass herself even more by getting more and more and more heated and emotional. It was great.
Right. I would say that's where it flips onto a regeneration at the same time because Spock is using logic against a woman to basically make her self-destruct, and shouldn't have gone down that way.
I also want to circle back real quick, Kelvin, to what you said about this being a very informal legal proceeding with no rule of law. It's almost like you could say that this was a drumhead trial.
Yeah.
As per that episode, this is what they did. It was quick, it was informal, and punishment was severe. And that is what they tried to do here.
He's literally running around like Norma Sati. The way he just runs to the intercom and announces to the whole ship that Spock did this. There's not even there's no dialogue that even happened there. It's like, this is what happened, and we're going to have a court martial and blah, 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 blah. And we're just like, what the hell's happened here?
Sulu and Chekhov just stood there with their arms folded, looking at each other, going, "Oh."
I kind of feel that might be some Americans right now. Every time who opens his mouth, you're sitting there, you're just like, this guy again spewing a bunch of crap. Ugh. We're all Spock standing there, just like unimpressed face is unimpressed. But I think I have one assimilation from this, and it was hard. It was hard. And it's the weakest assimilation that has ever happened on an episode for me, but here we are. And it is when we're kind of seeing the almost trade backs, and they would do that weird screen. Remember where they kind of show the face leaving the body? And yeah. The one when they do Shatner and it comes away his face, it's all white. Yeah. It's Michael Myers. Yeah. That's the Michael Myers mask.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Halloween was made on such a shoestring budget. All they did was run out and grab whatever mask was on sale, and it was Captain Kirk. They cut the eye holes a little bigger and painted it white. Mm-hmm. So in this episode, you see that mask, and I was so excited for it.
That's pretty cool. I watched the remastered version of the episode, so I thought the special effects do a really good job of conveying what's happening, and you follow it very well. So that's a good assimilation there. I mean, but I just don't know how much of that is in the original special effects from the 60s versus the remastered episode.
Oh, I don't know if I watched remastered. Would Netflix be the remastered version?
Yeah, they are. I watched on Netflix. You can tell usually by the external shots of the ships.
Yeah. Not in America, folks.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
We don't have Star Trek on Netflix here at all, except for Prodigy.
Right.
And I'm the opposite. I have every series but Prodigy.
Huh. That is weird.
We've got Paramount with everything on it, and we've still got Star Trek on Netflix.
I watched.
You have Prodigy on Paramount?
Yeah.
On the
Oh,
UK?
no. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. No,
Okay.
Prodigy is on Netflix.
Okay.
So what you're saying, Kelvin, is I still need to move to the UK.
You
That's what
do indeed, my love. I will, speaking of the 60s, I will give an assimilation, I beg your pardon, to the sets. We're talking about this as a finale, so they're not going to get any more developed. In fact, as we've already said, they were being taken down. But I just think Kirk's quarters is beautiful. I loved the design. I like the lighting. I like that little like mesh wiring as a room divider. The deck. I just think they'd got to the point now where the identity of the show was known with all of its design aspects. And I will give the campest assimilation to the sickbay physical of having the little pedals on the wall.
That's an epic scene. That is an
Brilliant.
epic scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow that, Kelvin, with an assimilation, and this would have been Janice's caftans.
Oh yeah.
They were lovely. Her outfits were, I'm like, would wear it. Just, they were great.
Nice. I thought the set, you're right, Kelvin, it did stick out to me. And I was thinking, how is that similar to his quarters in Wrath of Khan when we get to see Kirk's quarters a little bit more clear, and actually in motion picture as well. So it made me think about that. So I guess I did notice it as well. And yeah, I guess we'll flip to regenerations in the same side and get going on that, because the regular hospital gurney that they use in the transporter room to pick up the body and take it to sickbay, it's literally a 1960s gurney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No upgrades there.
Yeah.
What is that? That's an Americanism. I don't
Like
understand.
a stretcher, whatever, for the
On wheels.
moving a body, whether alive or dead, but in a sickbay type status.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, one regeneration that I noticed immediately is that there is no Uhura. My goodness gracious, I really missed her.
Yeah.
Oh, they had some other female character to replace her, but I missed her.
Yeah, Nichelle would have done a much better job with that.
Yeah.
It's funny too, that was Barbara Baldwin who played that, and she has no name. It was just communications officer.
Yeah.
So they didn't even give her a name.
I'm going to regenerate the scene, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but Kirk, inhabited by Lester, sat there doing his nails. And
disgusting.
Is it subtext? Was it there? It was like, here he's a woman. So what do women do? They sit there all day doing makeup and nails. And it seemed like it was unnecessary, and it was really trying to push the stereotype too much.
Yep.
That could definitely been Shatner and or the director saying, go do these little things that are going to show little peaks that you are acting differently.
If he wanted a more realistic depiction of what he should have been plucking his mustache, is what he should have been doing.
Yes.
I love that. I was gonna, like, in a comical manner, call out Chapel's hair, because in one scene she's wearing a big old wig, and in the next scene she's not, and it's pretty extreme from one scene to the other. And I was like, I guess hair and makeup wasn't keeping up continuity while that episode was being filmed.
I saw that too.
That up.
I did. I actually said, when I was watching it in bed this morning with James, went, she's got a new wig.
Things gay men notice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that.
All right, I would have introduced like this other little quick conversation here, since we're talking regenerations and assimilations. I've often wrestled with this idea of, we have 944 episodes, if you count the movies, including Section 31 of Star Trek. And it seems that Trekkies have a very, very, very hard time accepting that there are just bad episodes. And we go out of our way to, say, well, it's camp now, so it's a fan favorite. It's I think the conversation around Sub Rosa, for example, is so overdone, and everyone just loves it's so bad, it's good. And just the reason I bring this up is I just saw this top 10 list from Trek Culture yesterday where they try to take episodes that we grew to love, as they called it. And it's basically a who's who of the worst episodes, with the just Code of Honor being the only major one that's off the list. So what do you all feel about this? Are we allowed to say that at times, out of 944, there's just some stinkers and that's what they are, or they're all good in some way and we should find something to love about it? Go for it.
Kristin.
I think the thing that I love to see is when the actors, the directors, the writers, all of them themselves can actually say, yeah, we flubbed on this one. And then they work, and we can see as a franchise how they continue to work to make better content as they move forward. They learn from the mistakes, they see what the fans' reaction is, and they move forward from it. And I think we see that a lot with the earlier stuff, right? The original series can be hard to watch. There's a lot of this. I mean, Christos, you and I forget what episode we reviewed, but it was the rapey episode. And there's no redeeming qualities to that. But you know, they take that. I just feel like that is realized by those overseeing this franchise, and they work to be better. Does that make sense?
I like that outlook.
I'm probably on the side of trying to find the positive. I do say a lot, all Trek is good Trek. Clearly, there are some bad episodes and bad movies, as it is now. But I don't like coming for Star Trek in a negative way, and I do sometimes feel a little bit of a responsibility as well for what we're doing here and now, podcasting, that we should try and be balanced. But I'm not going to lie, last week, reviewing Section 31 was a little bit of a struggle because I just didn't enjoy the film. I didn't really think there was much good around it. And you're right, there are some episodes of Star Trek that I will just skip over them because I don't enjoy them. But the rewatch that I'm doing now, where I'm religiously watching them, whether I enjoy the episode or not, sometimes there is an episode I will skip that I force myself to watch, and I do actually find something enjoyable about it in hindsight to how I felt originally. So I agree with the idea of giving bad episodes a second chance in case it's actually just a little underwhelming and you like it. But yeah, people can say what they want. You can't make people's opinions invalid just because it doesn't fit a psychology or an ethos. But I try and find the positive is the answer to your question.
Well, sorry, go ahead, Amy.
I also, no surprise here, try and find the good. Obviously, in this example, this episode, I'm watching it and literally changing the meaning based off of my perspective of what I want to see. And I want to see, where can we be better? Where were we and where can we go? And so to see Janice Lester and her struggle to become captain, like, that has meaning to me. I grew up in the 70s. I know, like, I'm like, this is amazing what she was able to accomplish and overcome to become this captain, albeit the wrong way. Yeah, where she's the villain. But like, I'm still going to pick out something that is going to make my life better. She's a good example of getting something that she was refused. Like, she's groundbreaking, right? Yep. In a sense, like, this is the first time that a woman has done this. Like, so, and I do that in politics because there's so much bad. And I'm like, all right, this is really shitty. What can I learn from this? And that's going to be my perspective when I watch Star Trek. So yeah, it can be a crap episode, but I'm still going to find that string that's going to make it meaning and purposeful. Because otherwise, why would I watch it?
Yeah.
And that's how I felt growing up, is I felt that I had to like every episode and every movie. So as a kid, I made myself love Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Despite all the negative stuff, I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to find some. And to this day, I love the movie. I still love it. I enjoy watching it every time. Is it camp? Yes, but that's not bad. I thought the storytelling was good. I enjoyed some of the humor in it. And so but I think when we start to get on things such as sexism and racism and homophobia, anything like that, it's really hard to make any sort of stretch where I'm like, oh, I can make this good. No.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can always find things to like about it. Even Sub Rosa, okay, there's some cool character background that we get. Things like that are always really cool. But I would like to say out of 944 episodes, even if I say 5% are that's still a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
And I can, and it's, it's obviously a 60-year franchise for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to some trivia about this episode. Kristin, will you start us off?
Yes. This episode opens with the same music from Spock's brain and the closing music from Elan of Troyes. So enjoying the callbacks. Please excuse me if I butchered that one episode's name.
Well, Uhura is the only regular character absent in this episode, as I wanted to regenerate. So the actress Nichelle Nichols had a singing engagement at the time and was unavailable. It's very nice of them to let her go for that one.
Agreed. And after 2 years on the series, in several dozen episodes, Lemley, played by Roger Holloway, finally got to speak some dialogue, and it was all of 2 words, "Aye, sir," which is really, really nice. And his character name was the same as William Shatner's license plate at the time, a mixture of his daughter's names, i.e. L.E., Leslie, M for Melanie, and L.I. for Lisbeth. That's nice. Reminds me a little bit of Eric on Voyager, who played the Maquis guy, Ayala. They let him speak lines of dialogue in the penultimate episode, just as a little, you've been on the series all the way through.
I want to bring up a little bit of a goof to this piece of trivia too, that when I was doing some research, I was like, oh, interesting. That Lieutenant Galloway appears in this episode and has his speaking line and all that, which is lovely. Despite the fact that he had technically been killed a year earlier in the Omega Glory.
Oh,
continuity.
We're with Kelvin.
Yeah.
That means I would have had to watch all of them.
Well, seeing that this is the last episode of the series, Leonard Nimoy and Majel Barrett, number 1, and Nurse Christine Chapel were the only actors to appear in both this episode and the first pilot. So they are like the OGs. They were there on day 1 and they were there on the last day. The first pilot being The Cage. Nimoy was the only actor to appear in every episode of the series. William Shatner appeared in every episode originally aired on television. So the only thing Nimoy really has is that extra original pilot.
And for some reason in this episode, Janice Lester convalesces in a private, never before seen room down the corridor from sickbay.
Well, that's not for some reason. That's because they wanted to have the script calls for her to be isolated because they need to have her be isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they might as well have just given her a lobotomy. That's what this episode was barreling towards.
Well, during the first 3 filming days, pre-production was underway for the 25th episode of the season called The Joy Machine, and that was to be directed by William Shatner. However, on the 4th day of filming, Gene Roddenberry came to the set and informed Shatner that the series was canceled by NBC and his directorial debut would not be produced.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's harsh.
That's sad.
Even as filming was wrapping up and the crew members were dismantling the Enterprise set, Filming was completed on January the 9th, 1969.
And the final scene ever filmed for the original series was of William Shatner and Sandra Smith in front of the alien transference machine.
The last
That's the last
scene filmed. Oh.
Oh.
Wow.
All right, guys. Give me your final thoughts. We normally say who did it better, but this is our part 1. So we just get to give our final thoughts. Christos, I'd like to start with you.
I guess the question is which finale is my favorite?
Nope. The question is, no question. What is your final thoughts?
I think I kind of summed those up, so I'll keep it very brief. Yeah, it's not the best episode. It's not the best season finale, and it's certainly not the best finale. So if I could have the 15 minutes I spent watching it back this morning, I would take that. So there's my final thoughts.
I love it.
Kristin?
You know, I think this is a really important goalpost episode to show where Trek started to where it has evolved to. So it shows that people are capable of growth and empathy and learning from their mistakes. And Gene Roddenberry is quoted as saying that he did regret the line about the Federation not allowing female captains, as he did feel it was sexist in hindsight. So again, it's that self-actualization that you can come to make things better as they go on. So that is what this episode is for me. It is a, welp, we tried, let's do better next time.
Kelvin?
I'm going to end with a quote. I found one of the closing quotes from Kirk in the episode quite uplifting when he says, her life could have been as rich as anyone's, if only. And I think that's quite nice.
Because I'm finishing that of, if only she'd gotten married, if only she had had babies.
No, I saw it as like, if only the world was different. Or something,
Okay.
You know, like she should have been as rich as anybody. You know, if only.
If only we didn't have that pink ceiling. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I enjoy your, because that is not how I took that quote. So I enjoy your positivity towards it, because I took it as if only she had just fallen into line and been a woman.
Yeah.
But.
Well, my final thoughts are, this definitely is no way a finale. You can hear from the trivia, like there was supposed to be another episode. There was supposed to be 2 more years. Like this in no way, shape, or form is a finale. It's what we've got. So it's our last episode. The next parts in this series, we will definitely be analyzing, is it a good finale? We just can't do that with this one. So, it's an last episode. They didn't really have a lot of finales in the 60s. I mean, TV shows just sort of stopped, so it's not uncommon for the time. That's our last episode of TOS. Kristin?
I also think that this really makes me so thankful for the Undiscovered Country and how we got the wrap up and the second start of the right straight on till morning, them going off. I still get goosebumps every time I watch that scene. And I think that wrapped up what was such an important piece of cinematic history for us.
Yeah. Kelvin's little trivia there about literally it was canceled. There was to be a 25th episode to be coming following that it was, they didn't even finish production on the season. They cut it short. So it really wasn't meant to be that. So we'll give it that.
Yeah.
The episode could have been as rich as anyone's. If only.
Touche.
Yes. What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristin. Whether you've got Xbox or Nintendo, check out Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey and Mitch, self-proclaimed gamers who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. Grab your popcorn as you listen to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out. Hosted by Mark and Matt. Don your apron for the Food Replicator, where Matthew eats and drinks his way through Star Trek Cocktail and 3 cookbooks. Beam aboard Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Steven. In order to not repeat it, listen to History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissy and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissy and Thad. Curl up with a good book and delve into Beta Canon with Peter, host of the Trek Book Club on Twitter and Bluesky, and his companion Trek Book Club podcast. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey and MC. If you're a member of Starfleet Federation or Planetary Union, go check out Union Federation, covering current Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Head over to YouTube and watch The View Screen live on Sundays, your Trek-inspired talk show hosted by Kelvin and Amy, with new 8-week seasons in the spring and fall. Spill the tea with Christos while he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with an LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the Tea Bev. And for our patron members, we have the Hive Mind with script readings and roundtable discussion, It's Green, a cornucopia of topics, and Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek. You can keep up with all of these shows by following the network at BQN Podcasts on Instagram and Bluesky. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio. Well, Christos, what are we going to be talking about next week?
I think we're going to go back to what I call comfort episodes, and we're going to go revisit our series on transporter malfunctions. This will be part 4. This is TNG's Second Chances, which I believe is a season 6 episode, where we get not season 6 episode 24, which we get the Riker doppelganger, Thomas Riker. So that's a fun one.
Oh, I know.
A good Deanna episode there for you, Counselor
yes.
Amy.
I know.
It's also sad if only like that quote really goes into a lot of episodes. Calvin, God, you started something.
And a nice little romantic episode, I feel, to drop the day after Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's right. Well, we would love to hear what you thought of the original series last episode, and hope you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, or better yet, on our Discord server to continue our discussion there. You can reach the podcast at All Good Pod on Bluesky, or the network on Bluesky and Instagram at BQN Podcast. We have also partnered with our friends at the Fandom Podcast Network, where you can find us by searching their master feed, and links can be found in the show notes. So, Christos, where can people find you when you're not mind melding with, I was going to say me. Yeah, with me.
Ooh. You can find me on the network Discord server. You can find me on Bluesky and Instagram at Greek Geek SD. I have been playing around on Instagram a little bit again, but I'm still not on Facebook, and I think I'm good with that. You can also, I think that's everything. But yeah, you can't find me on the BQN Collective because I'm not on Facebook. And Kelvin, where can people find you when you're not switching bodies like Freaky Friday?
You can find me on most of the social platforms at Kelvin's Timeline, including the BQN Collective Facebook group, and I do dip in and out of Discord whenever I can. You can also find me coming up on the view screen in a matter of weeks, just a couple more weeks until we go live with season 3. So all very exciting to have all that locked in and good to go. And Kristin, where can people find you when you're not lobbying the Federation Council for a radical policy change to let women in the captain's seat?
I love a good policy change. You can find me I am chilling on Instagram at kstrats for now. We'll see. I'm technically on Facebook and on the BQN, even though I'm not really there. I use Facebook for Marketplace, and that's about it. But anyway, that's an aside. And then my favorite, though, is Reddit. User Garrick's Fan Club. Such interesting discussions over there. And I'm starting to stockpile some memes for the view screen and my Meme of the Week segment.
Nice.
And Amy, where can people find you when you are not doing what needs to be done to assume the position you know is rightfully yours in this world?
Yes, love that. Well, I do that all the time. So
Yeah, you do.
while I'm doing that, you can find me here on the network where I'm co-hosting Union Federation. We've got some fun stuff coming up. We are going to be going over each of the characters. Very excited, starting with Lieutenant Tala. She's the security chief. And so we're going to be doing that. And as Kelvin said, starting the view screen in a couple weeks. Really looking forward to our Sunday morning show. And I best place Discord and Bluesky. On Bluesky, it's at Counselor Amy. So find me there. Yeah, I removed Facebook and I just have not been on. So this is, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Here on BQN Podcasts, you will never hear a commercial on one of our shows. And if you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week commercial-free, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can join our Let's Fly reaction show, script readings, and other perks. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages.
Now, if becoming a patron isn't your thing, you can still support the show by sharing our posts on social media, talking about it with your friends, or hitting the like and subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leaving us a star rating and written review, because that will help others to find the show.
At this time, we'd like to thank our very own associate producers, Mahendran Radhakrishnan and JJ Seastrum. A special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and to all of our listeners, we send our heartfelt thanks.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us
as we search out
all good things.